everybody, welcome back to the Velocity Banking series. This is video number 4, where we are going to figure out which loan to pay off first if you have multiple amortized interest one-way loans. Which one is going to give you the most bang for your buck as far as interest savings to focus on first. Now, this is intended to be watched as a series because of the subsequent videos the information builds upon itself. If this is the first video you're jumping into and you're a bit confused or feeling a little lost, I will leave a link to the prior videos if you want to watch those and then come back to this video and see if some of those questions are answered. Or of course, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I would be more than happy to attempt to answer them. If you did miss video number 3 from last week, this is just a recap. In last week's video, we figured out what our cash flow was. I showed you what our cash flow was using our real-world numbers. And these videos are intended for you to kind of follow along and crunch these numbers with me as we go, especially if you're watching it because of you're interested in implementing this strategy yourself. So right here is the cash flow equation. It's where you take your income minus your fixed expenses minus your variable expenses. And as I've mentioned in all of the other videos, that you need to have a functioning budget, because if you need to know these numbers, if you're trying to figure out what your cash flow is and you're finding that you're fumbling with knowing what your numbers are, I would suggest halting, putting a pause on implementing the Velocity Banking strategy, because you have to have these numbers down hardcore in your mind, know where to find them really easy before you implement this strategy into your finances. Yeah, I calculated our cash flow with you in that video. And then who I have turned to for inspiration is Think Wealthy with Mike Adams. And in his video, I'll leave a link to that in the description box below, where he talks about cash flow. He suggests having at least $500 of cash flow before implementing the Velocity Banking strategy. And this week, we're kind of working our way through these bullet points. Now what we're going to be looking at is how our family determined what loans to pay off first. And of course, I drew inspiration from Think Wealthy with Mike Adams. His video, he has a video that talks about something called the cash flow index. It's a calculation you can do to see which loan is most efficient or least efficient, which loan is hampering your cash flow the most. And once you figure that out, you tackle that loan first. I'm going to get you guys switched over now to an overhead view, and we're going to crunch the numbers.
Okay, everybody, so here we are. I have just on this piece of printer paper, we're going to be looking at our 2 different one-way amortized interest loans, figuring out which one would give us the most bang for our buck to pay it off. And a way you can figure this out, this came from that Think Wealthy with Mike Adams video. I left a link to that video in the description box below during my cash flow video last week as a part of this Velocity Banking series. But he mentions this cash flow index is how you can figure out which amortized interest loan is kind of putting the most strain on your cash flow, or which one is the most efficient or inefficient, and how to figure that out. And with cash flow, I have written down here this cash flow index calculation. It's where you take your loan balance and divide it by your minimum payment. So how much is it costing you to hang on to that debt? How much in cash flow is that loan costing you? And the goal, once you figure out your cash flow index, or you have multiple loans, is to pay off the loan with the lowest cash flow index first. And he talks about efficiency of the loan. So if a loan is efficient, which is good, it has a cash flow index of greater than 100. If the loan is inefficient, it has a cash flow index of less than 50. Okay, so what we're going to do today is look at our two loans. When I started this in August, we had two amortized interest one-way loans that we could use this strategy on. And the starting balance for the student loan in August was $61,480.12. The minimum payment is $543.40. The starting balance for our mortgage in August was $204,957.82. Our mortgage payment is $1,402.07. So now, to use this equation, we'll start here with the student loan. Its balance was $61,480.12 divided by the minimum payment of $543.40. The cash flow index on student loan was 113. Now we'll move over here to our mortgage. Its starting balance was $204,957.82 divided by its minimum payment, and its cash flow index is 146. So then you're like, well, which one is lower? Well, or greater. 146 is greater than 113. They're both efficient, so that's good to see, thank goodness. But then we knew that the winner was going to be the student loan. We're eventually going to move into paying off our mortgage with this strategy, but which one to tackle first would be our student loan. I think car loans are ones that can typically be inefficient loans. So if you are finding that you have a mortgage, a student loan, a car loan, anything like that, do this equation, this calculation, figure out how efficient or inefficient, which loan is the most inefficient, which one is closest to 50. And if it's less than 50, then absolutely get rid of that as soon as possible, or use this strategy on it first. But yeah, that is cash flow index. It's a new term to me, and I found it very helpful to let me know that we were making the right decision by tackling student loan number 2 first before moving into our mortgage. And that is going to wrap up this video, you guys. Next week for the Velocity Banking series is where we're going to move into looking at the lines of credit that my husband and I had access to and how we're using those. And that's kind of where things can get very specific based on your on the different lines that you have access to, and how you are going to use your funds to kind of shift money around and things like that to really maximize your interest savings. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are enjoying the contents of this channel and are not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing and follow along with us on this journey to financial freedom. I'll see you guys tomorrow for time blocking.